Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Empower Half Hour. Tonight's topic is nutrition, and joining me this evening will be Erica. She's a 22-year-old woman who grew up on Long Island, and she's a prime example of a person who experienced difficulties in her youth, and she's not only empowered to enjoy life, but interested in spreading awareness and empowerment to others. And my name is Stacy, and I, too, am passionate about empowering and sharing my awarenesses with others. I'm a CASAC-t and a certified teacher. And every week during our podcast, we'll discuss good news stories, stories of hope, stories of success, and stories of empowerment. And we encourage everyone to call in and participate. And our call-in number is 646-200-0848. So I have Erica online with me. Is that right?
Yep. Hi, Stacy.
Hi. Happy Thursday. I'm
Happy
just finishing
Thursday.
our introduction here. So Empower Half Hour is made possible by the Time to Play Foundation Incorporated, a not-for-profit 501c3 corporation with the mission and purpose to enrich the lives of others through our programs, public awareness, outreach activities, events, and learning opportunities that further the concept of enjoying life. So part of being healthy and happy is, of course, what we put into our bodies and how we feel about ourselves. So nutrition, especially around the holidays, is a great topic. I know it's a passion of mine. I've become more conscientious over the past 5 years than in all of my other 45 years with what I put into my body, and it's just become a part of my daily practice. Let's see who else we have on the line here. Hi, this is Stacy. Who else just called in?
Brooke.
Hi, Brooke. Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I got nervous for a minute because I saw you trying to do a collating on my regular phone, but I'm glad you're in the studio. Is everything okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't. I hit the wrong button.
Okay. So Brooke is calling in from Florida. She is someone that I used to work with at a great school, American Heritage, and I had the privilege of teaching her son reading. And we just have a lot of common denominators in terms of health and wellness and supporting one another on a daily basis lately. And let's see who else is calling in here. Hi. This is Stacy. Who's calling in?
It's Andrea.
Oh, Andrea. Okay. Andrea is calling in. Andrea is a young lady that I've been talking to on a daily basis who is working on attaining balance and health in her life. And we share a lot of good self-empowerment topics every day. And I'm so excited that you called in, Andrea.
Oh, thank you.
All right, honey. So I'd like to start by just, talking about why nutrition is so important. I know that nutrition is part of leading, a healthy lifestyle. And combined with our physical activity, our diet can help us reach our goals with a healthy weight, reduce the risk of chronic diseases like heart disease and cancer, and just promote our overall health. And the scientific definition is that it interprets the interaction of nutrients and other substances in food in the relation of the maintenance and growth and reproduction and health and disease in organisms, including ourselves. So now that we have all technical definitions about it, basically I think it's easy to say we are what we eat. And I know that when I eat healthy, I feel better. We have all different ages on the phone, so we want to share lots of different aspects of just our diet, what we eat, and maybe some of the things that, we've learned along the way. This is a non-judgmental conversation, and we are by no means, I am not a nutritional specialist. I always take a little extra research into the topics that we discuss and just try to share with everybody that calls in. And I know we have lots of different ages. So, Erica.
Yes.
I know that we were talking earlier, and I just want to know. I know that you are a young girl in your 20s, and you're on the go. You have a job. How important is nutrition to you these days?
It's not really the top priority on my list.
Okay. So,
basically, being a young girl in my 20s with the job that I have, not having a career set up yet, my priority is to look for things that are more cheap versus healthy for me, because I have to eat and survive, but I also can't spend $40 on a nice few meals for me versus being able to get that quick $5 meal. So for me, nutrition hasn't been the top thing, but ever since I got my new job, because now I started working at Whole Foods, it definitely has started making me more conscious to look at the things that I'm eating and see the ingredients. And one of the biggest things I started going by is if I don't understand what's in it, I don't eat it.
Wow, that's a great point. That's a great point, because for so many years I never paid attention to labels, and I know that there's such an education in studying, the superfoods and how they can help you. And on the contrary, there's so many foods out there that's just loaded with sugar and chemicals that we need to be aware of. So Whole Foods in itself is a good education right there with your new job.
Exactly. They definitely, even though it's not focused at me learning these new things, especially working there, from having to help the customers and give them information, I myself am also learning at the same time.
Wonderful. And that's how I live my life. I'm always, I feel like it's always what I need to learn is what I need to study to educate. So there's no coincidences there, and I totally can relate to that. So you were talking about budget, and it's funny because I know sometimes we open up magazines and it's like Oprah Winfrey's diet of the week, lobster for lunch, and, garnished with just 2 extra caviar eggs instead of 7, and things like that. So,
right.
In terms of budgeting and realistic dieting, can you? I know that we talked about you were going to look a little bit into budgeting and watching our nutrition at the same time. What did you discover?
Well, one thing, when I was doing a little bit of research for our podcast tonight, is I found a list of items to stay away from in your diet, and stay away from and things that you need. And one of the biggest things that kept coming up in all the research is trans fat. Avoid trans fat like the plague. That stuff is chemicals. It is bad for your body, and it's not real fat. So even though it's in our food, it's something that they made to, I guess in a sense, make our processed food taste better, or I'm not really sure what exactly it does, but it does. Our body can't break it down, so that's one of the biggest things that we should stay away from. And then second, what I learned was omega-3s are basically the complete opposite. They are gold to our body. They help our body out so much. Omega-3s have been connected to not having enough of them in your system can actually lead to mental disorders and depression and not feeling the best. So even the biggest thing that it showed me was, like, even if you don't have the healthiest diet, as long as you get enough omega-3, it will actually help your body and your mental health.
Right. And I too made a list of some of the dynamite omega-3s, and I remember that I read an article back from when I was teaching special ed, just there's 12 foods that help focus, and they are very rich in the omega-3s. But getting back to where you started, the point of, the work foods, I was very taken back when the 5 most highlighted work foods that we could put in our body was listed as artificial sweeteners, soy milk, margarine, whole wheat bread, and orange juice. And based on the same allegations that you stated, they are all made in laboratories from chemicals that we can't digest, that don't break down in our body, and basically they just fill up fatty cells. So it's the weight that hangs down from our arms. It's the extra areas around our hips from these, especially like the whole wheat. It's genetically modified, and it actually, is inflammatory. It's filled with fatty chemicals. And I was really surprised to learn that orange juice had as much sugar as soda,
Mhm.
And the artificial sweeteners, I am so guilty. I don't know if anybody else, but, I've been proud of myself lately eliminating the milk from the coffee, but I still will throw in, Truvia, or I know they mentioned Splendid and Equal as being, so high in chemical. I'm sure that just being an artificial sweetener, Truvia also, and we should know just by the word artificial sweetener that it's not good for us. But these 5 foods especially are misleading because they're things that are usually promoted, like soy milk, and it has just so many chemical preservatives. And margarine, too. What I learned was that it's good for us to eat real butter because the real butter actually increases our metabolism. And, it's all portion control, too. But speaking of some, amazing foods, I want to just mention some of the foods that not only help you focus, but they just are great for longevity, a lot of cognitive brain power in particular foods. Walnuts has more antioxidants than any other nut. Blueberries also high in antioxidants, fights inflammation. Salmon is a really huge superfood, and salmon can lower the risk of Alzheimer's. It has the omega-3s that you spoke of, and it lowers the cognitive decline. And that's evident also avocados. Also, high vitamin E. But we have to be careful. Foods like the walnuts, it recommends no more than an ounce because it's high in fat, but it's healthy fat. And the avocados, too. The recommended portion is only a fifth of an average size avocado. I mentioned here, I know I was very surprised because I'll have at least a full avocado at a time. I love it with salt and pepper.
Me too.
You mentioned, yeah. But, it's a healthy fat, so we can't beat ourselves up. I mean, if that's the worst of the worst. I don't want to just run on my voice here, but I do want to go down the list because there was some interesting things here. Pumpkin seeds are a rich source of zinc. They have high antioxidants. Extra virgin olive oil that we use for so many different things is also loaded with antioxidants, and it promotes our memory and learning deficits from aging and diseases. Most of us know that leafy greens are great for us: spinach, kale, and collards. They have vitamin K, they have folate, they keep our brain healthy. Eggs lives on a few lists as good sources of protein, rich in the omega-3s also, and they contain choline, which is excellent for the brain development. They have B12, and they're good for not only the brain but the nervous system too. And then yogurt contains probiotics, which are referred to like a good bacteria, and it promotes digestive health. And it also improves brain function, and it's high in B12 and magnesium. And another superfood, oatmeal, not the kind that are in the packets, but, the whole grains, slowly cooked, whole oats are good carbs. And they fill us up in the morning, and, hunger can take away from our mental focus like in school. So a good bowl of whole oats, slowly cooked oatmeal is great. Dark chocolate is a stimulant. It provides us energy. It's high in antioxidants. And peppermint tea was on that list as well, saying that it improves our cognitive performance, but it also increases alertness while calming us, which I love peppermint tea, and I find that to be true. And I have to say, I eat frequently most of the foods on this list, and since I've changed my diet drastically, you know, I definitely feel more alert and clearer, and it's a win-win in my book. I can vouch for these foods from my personal, you know, diet. So, Andrew or Brooke, is there anything that you'd like to add at this point in the conversation? How important is nutrition to you every day? Or if you just want to listen, that's fine too.
No, I've been writing notes because I've been eating really bad lately.
Me too.
Okay. So I know, Andrea, I brought you a couple of healthy snacks and you wanted some more of them, which means that you actually thought they were tasty. So that's a good thing. And
yeah, I like
nuts,
the fig
right?
bars.
Nuts
Fig bars are
raisins.
good.
What, honey?
I like the fig bars.
Fig bars.
And the nuts with the chocolate.
Yeah, and the nuts had the dark chocolate, and they also had walnuts in them. And I know on another list that I have, there's cranberries, and they had some cranberries in them. So I know, Andrea, you're on a budget, so I know that, you know, it's important to realize what you can get for, you know, your dollar, and when you go shopping, you have to be really conscientious. And I know that I've been helping you with that, and I can continue to help you with that. But, like, we made a list together, and that was helpful, right?
Yeah.
And we can just continue
definitely.
to do, we can continue to do things. I know when you plan things ahead, no matter what it is, it's always helpful. Goes for our meals, you know. I don't know, Erica, would you wake up and decide what you're going to eat for the day, or how do you roll that way?
I kind of just wait until I feel hungry, and then I decide what I want to eat. For the most part.
Okay.
I mean, for the most part, too, it's about, like, prep time and what I have, and I usually don't grocery shop because another big thing, for me at least, is I live at home, so I have my parents. They usually every night cook a home-cooked meal. They're actually even more conscious than they were before about nutrition values. So lately, it's been a lot more like we do like less pasta and more greens and more protein in our diet. Not red meat, but we'll eat like more chicken, or we always have a green. I mean, that was a big thing that my mom drilled into our head at a young age. My funny story, my stepdad made dinner one night, and he made, for the side, corn and potatoes. My mom wasn't very happy about that and made it very clear to my stepfather and all of us that those are two starches, and that's a no-no for dinner. So, living at
dark
home...
meat chicken okay?
Huh?
Is dark meat chicken okay?
That's Sandra. She's asking.
I think white meat is better than the dark. I don't know.
Yeah.
I forget which one it is. Is that it?
Well,
All right.
White meat definitely has less fat. White meat definitely has less fat.
Yeah, dark meat tastes better. White meat has less fat and more of the nutrition values, I guess. But dark meat, always, honestly.
Well, some people, you know, enjoy it and some people don't, but it definitely the breast is healthier than, you know, the wings, and the wings have, I think, the most fat, and then the thighs, and, you know, if you could almost think about your own body and where it all, like, deposits, you know, when you relate to a chicken, and then you could see, you know, where the fat lies. But there's lots of ways to spice up chicken, and lately I've been buying the chicken strips. They take so quickly to prepare, and I buy the store brand Stop and Shop, and they're chicken strips. So they cook quickly, like I said, and I just put some salt and pepper and a little bit of garlic and paprika and grill them, and they're delicious. And sometimes I'll treat myself and put a little like teriyaki sauce very lightly and then marinate in that and then cook them. But chicken breast can be, prepared so many different ways. And like my husband and his son will have chicken cutlets, and breaded, and my husband will make them plain for me because it's just, they're not interested in turning around with my, healthy suggestions at this point. My son will have vegetables, but he still enjoys fried foods, and my husband, I feel like I don't know if he'll ever change, but he will prepare food on the side for me because, you know what, we have the power. Like for a couple of years there, I was just like, afraid to say anything. Like my husband would cook and he would, he'd put the effort in, and I felt like I should be grateful to come home to a hot meal on the table. And then I realized, no, it's, I appreciate that he's doing that, but I need to, speak up that I need to eat a certain way. So it's just part of, the power we need to take. But Erica, it's great that your parents are conscientious that way. Makes it easier for you. Andrea, I know you're living by yourself for the first time, and everything's new to you. And, you have a great support group, so you can keep reaching out. Just calling in tonight is great, and I'm glad that you're on board with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I too have to reach out. It's not like I certainly don't know everything. I know that last year, February, I did lose 11 pounds. It took me 2 months, and I did a 30-day fit diet, actually, with the Arbonne products that are all gluten-free and natural, vegan certified. I enjoyed their pea protein shakes, and they had diet supplements, and there was a fiber boost that I put into my shakes, and there was a whole booklet that suggested healthy eating along with it. So I took off the 11 pounds, and now I actually use their pre-made vanilla pea protein shakes and the quinoa bars as a supplement for 1 or 2 meals a day, and I've been able to maintain that 11-pound weight loss. But, of course, our exercise regime has a lot to do with it, too. And I just want to roll off a couple of other superfoods that weren't on that list. The list that I mentioned really had tremendous brain power, helped focus, but some other superfoods are quinoa and blueberries, chia seeds, green tea and broccoli, strawberries, watermelon, pistachios, almonds, ginger, beets, pumpkin, garlic, cauliflower, leeks, lentils, and beans. All of these are super amazing foods that are great for all different areas of our body, mostly our digestion and our brain. And there's even a fast food list. It's amazing. That was, I Googled, but it lists like all the fast food places and tells you the best possible choice that you can make. So I'm not going to rattle off. There were 30 of them. But just for example, it'll tell you McDonald's, you can get the premium Caesar salad with grilled chicken and low-fat balsamic vinegar. It's only 375 calories. It does have 9.5.
That's actually,
yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but it's crazy hearing the word McDonald's than using salad because I don't know if they changed their menu or their nutritional values in their menu, but at one point the salads at McDonald's had more sugar in them than like a glass of soda from there.
Wow. I've heard mixed things too. I mean, I haven't. The only time I went to fast food when I was pregnant, which isn't great, but it was just an interesting list that said if you do have to go to these fast food places, it lists the best possible option that you get from each one. But still, like the Dunkin' Donuts, it says the egg white veggie wake up only has 390 calories, but it's 23 grams of fat, which is a lot of fat. So it was just something that I thought would be relevant a little bit.
Now,
of course,
something else. Oh, sorry.
No, please go ahead. I'm monopolizing this conversation.
I mean,
go ahead.
I think me, Brooke, and Angela, is that your name?
Andrea.
Andrea, okay. No, I think all three of us are on the same page where it's like, we know that we should do this nutrition, but maybe tomorrow. But one thing I was thinking about, too, is a really cool thing with, like, I remember you said your husband and your son will eat their chicken cutlets and things like that. Now, something cool, which for me, I don't eat the best. I eat, even tonight when I'm on the phone with you guys talking about nutrition, I was eating pulled pork with Texas toast and garlic butter on it. Now, oh, so good. even though it's not the healthiest choice for me, dawn on me is the reason why I still am on more of the healthier side is because without even realizing it, I don't eat a lot of fried food. Now, with chicken cutlets, you can bread them, use eggs, and bake them instead. It tastes almost exactly the same, and then you're leaving out that oil and that grease and that fat. And even if you don't want to use egg, if you use like a batter on the chicken cutlet, that's even another alternative. And
I use the George Foreman grill.
Actually, yeah, you could use that.
I don't know. You have that, Andrea?
What did you say?
You have that?
Yeah, my dad bought it for me for my birthday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but that actually would be universal. You could grill your vegetables on that. You could grill chicken on that. Like, you could do everything with that thing.
How do you grill vegetables on it?
I think the top part, you open it up where, like, you can grill the burgers where the grease drips down. You just close it with the vegetables.
What I would do? Yeah, no, I was going to say extra virgin olive oil is also, listed high on this list of brain food and just being high in the, omega-3. And I would suggest for vegetables, you can just take a Ziploc bag and cut your vegetable up. Like, let's say if it's zucchini, you could slice it, or if it's peppers, you just make strips and throw away the seeds, and then you shake it in a Ziploc bag with extra virgin olive oil, and you can throw it on a barbecue that way. You can throw it on a George Foreman grill that way. I do that with asparagus, so delicious. So that's just a good way to grill vegetables. But another thing that we have to remember is portion control, and I think that some of the tips that I found for portion control was to measure accurately. And, it gave some examples for sizes, like a half a cup is like the size of an ice cream scoop, and a cup is the size of a tennis ball. And the one thing that was funny was an ounce of cheese is the size of a domino. And I was like, oh, my God, cheese has always been my weakness, and something that I probably overdo without realizing it, just because of the portion or the way you cut the cheese, That's my weakness, I think.
I've learned how to do that.
Yeah.
I've learned how to do that. I'm learning the portion control, but I'm still not eating good food. There's times I'll come home and I'm starving, but I know my blood pressure is running high or something, and sometimes I choose not to eat just because I don't want to put weight on too, and I don't want the salt, so this is all good stuff for me.
Yeah, that's great, because starving ourselves, we wind up just with the reverse effect, because it's just, I know for me, I wind up eating more in the long run. It's all balance, and it's a work in progress. I allow myself one day that I just, for example, my husband made eggplant parmesan, and, I had 2 servings, and I did leave off the mozzarella, but it was breaded, and it was, it had, and I had dessert that night, but in the past I would do that and then say, oh, I messed up, and go into the whole week like that. But now on Sundays, if I indulge like that, I quickly catch myself and one of the things that do help me is I always mention my hot yoga, but, I don't want to feel full in that room, and I don't want to feel, I need to feel like light in that room, so that helps me. It's just one of the things that helps me. But I know the portion control. Another thing is if we eat on smaller plates, it makes us feel like we have more food. That was another suggestion. And smaller cups, we drink less. And it said when eating out, just little tips like ordering the dressing on the side. And I know for me, when I do that, I eat half the cup instead of the whole thing. And then with oil, even though extra virgin olive oil is good for us, but we need to really be careful with our oil, like how we use it in food, because we can overdo with that very easily. And another suggestion with portion control was to add a lot of vegetables to everything, because it's just a way to, in other words, take more vegetables and less protein, and you feel like you're having a full meal. You get full and, filled with nutrients. And what else did we discover here tonight? Our body mass index is a great way to measure our body fat. And you can actually go online and press in your height and your weight, and it asks you a few questions. But if you Google body mass index calculator, it'll come up digitally, and you could just put in your height and your weight. And so mine came out as a 24, and it was teetering on the healthy weight. It was right, the last number on the healthy weight before it goes higher. So, but we have to remember, too, all of our bodies are different, and some of us weightlift, and some of us, do more cardio, or some of us don't work out at all. So we have to account for, the muscles, and that, which weighs more than fat in our body. But if you want to know if you do have, a good body mass index, you can go on and do the calculator. It's just the way. And, unfortunately, obesity rates have more than doubled since the 70s. So, it's important to have this perspective, especially for Andrea. You have a young daughter, and Erica, you haven't had children yet, but to raise your children with these nutritional values, because even though my son indulges with my husband, ideally he's learned a lot about nutrition, and I think he wants to please my husband by eating his food like I did at one point, but he's a young, growing guy, and he can get away with it. But I think ultimately he will take those values, more to heart as he gets older and more independent, too. So not just for us, I'm saying for our children as well. That's a great reason for nutrition.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking tonight. We don't have Jackie, and we don't have Kat Marie on the wire tonight. But I do take some time out to learn a couple of things, and I'll just say that if you want to get started and you don't know how to get started, today everything's at our fingertips. We can Google anything. There's a YouTube that's called 10 Easy Ways to Get Started by Karina Rachel. She's a certified health coach, and she's very dynamic. And I started to watch it, but just to make sure that it would be a good thing to recommend, and she was dynamite. So it's she's a virtual life coach, and her name's Karina Rachel, and the YouTube is 10 Easy Ways to Get Started. So bam, right there, and you could Google anything and just click video and watch a YouTube on it. If you're cleaning the house or doing, changing the bed, anything, I'm always trying to self-develop while I'm doing those things. And this would also be a great way to learn more about nutrition. What else did I want to share? I always Google some resources. And then, I don't know, Erica, do you want to share something while I'm looking that up? Anything more about nutrition, or I know that we came up with these topics.
Nutrition area. One thing also that I learned, everybody's diet is different, what works for them to, if they want to lose weight, gain weight, moderate their weight. All of our bodies are completely different, so we have to find, like, the things that work for us. So even if it says one thing for one diet and that's going to help you, that might not be the thing for you. Now, in the sense of talking about that, like, with my body, I don't eat the healthiest, but, like, the way my body ends up being able to function and lose weight faster is I usually eat very small in the morning, and then usually anywhere between, like, 6 to 8 o'clock at night, I'll have a big meal because I'm usually up very late. So 8 o'clock at night to me is like somebody's 4 p.m. And that way I'm not eating and then passing right out. Because when I do that, when I eat and then I, like, midnight snack, which usually isn't a snack, it's more like a giant bowl of cereal or something because I'm still learning portion control. When I do that, I actually end up gaining weight a lot faster than if I just cut myself off, got myself full, and if anything, have, like, a small snack before bed and not potato chips but, like, fruit. The other thing that I would do, too, is if I can't afford or have time for a full meal, is I eat small snacks throughout the day. So when I'm hungry, I'll eat, and then I won't eat anymore, and then, like, within the next 2 hours, I'll eat again, and then I won't eat any. So, like, I'll do, like, small little sizes of things throughout the day, and that's actually something else that I've learned with my body, at least, helps me.
Well, I think ultimately recommended by most nutritionalists is to have, you know, a healthy metabolism. I know that I've heard that umpteen times, and, you know, I try to do that throughout the day, but I do sit down and have dinner with my family. And then, of course, you know, having a big breakfast is highly recommended by a lot of nutritionalists, and you have to find what works for you and for your schedule. I know that if I have a big breakfast, I'm more hungry throughout the day, so something that I don't do. But it is recommended especially for, you know, students and you know I always encourage my son to eat breakfast before he goes to school. He doesn't really care about eating in the morning. But what you said about eating at night, oh, my gosh, my weakness. So I discovered this Skinny Pop popcorn that was only 39 calories a cup, but yet I would bring a bag up and find myself eating half of a big bag. So now I bought the 100-calorie little bag. So I have one of those in, like, tangerine or 2 little ones, and I'm trying to modify eating at night as well. But, you know, we got to be careful with fruits because sometimes they're high in sugar, and then the sugar turns fat, too. It's like, where do you have reprieve, really? But some fruits are better than others. I know apples are great for you, and fruit's definitely a better option than potato chips, so that's for sure. There's resources, too, to, you know, like I said, we can Google anything, but I would like to highlight some resources. And, you know, in our own enjoylifecommunity.org on Time to Play, we have Melissa Stockman, who is our counsel professional resource. She's also a nurse for our pre-inventive strategies. So she's had programs with pre-inventing cancer and diabetes, and we always schedule. Her programs are listed on the website. You can, there are calorie counter apps that you can get on your phone. There's a Food Keeper app for your phone that helps you save food and eat healthier. There's even a website if you wanted to teach nutrition that has curriculum and lesson plans called Food and Nutrition Information Center. And then there's some best-selling books. Most of them are $8 to $15. One is Eat to Live by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. He also wrote The End of Diabetes, and he also wrote The End of Dieting. And Tony Robbins, who's a motivational speaker, most of us have heard of him, wrote a book called Awaken the Giant Within. And a Dr. David Perlmutter, I've heard of him. I haven't read this book, but it's called Brain Maker, and it's with a lot of the omega superfoods that we mentioned. And then this book's expensive, $57, but it's called Understanding Nutrition by Eleanor Knox Whitney, co-written with Sharon Rady Rolfe. And if you're pregnant, there's a book called Beautiful Babies by Kristen Michaels that you can read to help whether you're trying to get pregnant or you are carrying. It has a lot of wonderful nutritional suggestions. It's funny because I remember when I was trying to get pregnant and I was 37 years old. It was taking a while. I waited a long time to have a baby. But I remember walking into a vitamin store and saying, I really want to clean up my body. I don't want to drink or eat unhealthy foods. And I want to know, is there anything in particular that I could, buy? And it was recommended milk thistle and some Chinese herbs. And seriously, like 2 months later, I got pregnant. I did take those, but I was, following a lot of other suggestions as well. So it's funny, though, how things that we put in our body could have life-changing effects, in so many different ways. So I don't know. I hope somebody somewhere got something out of these suggestions. Again, we're not professionals. We just are sharing, our epiphanies and things that we've just learned and things, our own experiences that we follow. And it really is the first year of my life that I could say my body mass index has been consistently, on a healthy level. So, you girls are all younger than me. Brooke's in her 40s and Andrea and Erica, you're in your 20s. So if you can get all of this younger, God bless you. It took me a lot of years to just find the balance. But I just love to share it because it feels so good. And I'm not always, diligent. I'm not always healthy. But I do strive to try to be, the best version of myself, especially lately. And, hey, it's like a work in progress. We'll always be learning. I'll always be a lifelong learner. So,
definitely motivated me.
What?
I say you definitely motivated me.
Me too.
Thank you so much. That makes it all worthwhile. And you know what? It's so much fun to learn more about these topics that just can, make us healthier. So that's why I love doing this. And Erica, I know you suggested another topic. We'll talk about it. It's exciting to, learn about all these different topics. And I want everybody to have a great week and just be good to you and realize that you have the power of choice in almost everything that we do. So good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Sign on.
Bye.
Sign on. Bye-bye.